I didn't do it yet, but I got to give you the Madison Square Garden pat on the back. Got to give it to you.
Well deserved, right? Thank you.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.
Our first guest comes to us from the Canadian wrestling scene, currently working with Barry Wrestling. He has about 4 years under his belt. Please welcome the barn burner, Van Landon.
What's up, everyone? Van Landon here, coming to rev up on this podcast. I am so excited to talk with Barry Horowitz and meet Jonah for the first time and talk with him. Let's do this.
It's really awesome to have you here. I can't wait. Our next guest is a legend with over 40 years in the pro wrestling business. He's still going to wrestling promotions like WCW and, of course, WWF. He's traveled the world and faced many of the biggest names in the business. Please welcome Mr. Technical, Barry Horowitz.
Wow. Thank you. Nice intro and pleasure to be here. And with both of you guys, Mr. Tuxedo and Van from Canada.
It's awesome. No, and like I said, Barry, you're still going. And recently, I was actually in attendance at Wrestlecon to see you in that 10-man tag. How was that for you?
Oh God. You know, that I wanted to do more, but there's 10 guys. Everybody gets a spot in. Really, by the time you do all that, 12 minutes has passed. That's enough. You know, in the business, a 10-man tag match is really labeled. It's not cartoonish, but it's entertainment personified. Yeah. You know, they want to see everybody get their finish in, a little ha-ha, gaga, and go home. 1, 2, 3. Baby faces go over. It's good enough. They like that.
No, it was a very fun match to watch, for sure. Yeah, the crowd was crazy, right? Yeah.
I would have liked to did a little bit more, but sometimes I've told guys that are younger or when I do seminars and whatnot, they'll go, oh, I wanted to go 15, but it was right at 12. Sometimes you don't need that extra 3 minutes. Sometimes you don't need that extra suplex or arm drag. You know what I mean? Sometimes less is better. It's not being lazy. It's psychology. It's better.
I think that's a great way to look at it. Van, were you there for Mania Week in Dallas this year?
Wasn't down there, but I was watching from home. Yeah, so I was watching the Wrestlecon show as well, and caught up with all that action. And to your point, exactly, a 10-man tag is not something that I have been a part of yet. However, for those same reasons you just listed, it's something that I know I'd have a lot of fun with.
The only time a 10-man kind of sort of, well, it does matter more so, is like at Survivor Series. That's a whole different animal.
Right.
It's slower pace, a little bit more story told, and the people are there to see wrestling and entertainment. That's what Survivor Series is. That's what they push, is that. So you go with it. At WrestleCon, it was just an entity or an oddity, an entertainment match for the fans to see 10 different wrestlers of all genres. And people did not know I was there. They did that on purpose.
I had no idea. Wait, yeah, so were you signing that day or anything, or no?
Yeah,
you weren't there.
I signed till 9 o'clock that night. And I don't know what time we got in the ring, but it was late.
Yeah.
It was late. Real big shout out to highspots.com. They made my outfit, and they're really good people. If you've ever been to a facility in Charlotte, let me tell you something. When it comes to wrestling, the ring, the ropes, the trunks, the figurines, anything you could think of in pro wrestling, they make at a professional level. And they were just really kind to me. They got a TV studio in there. Wow. Did an interview with there. And yeah, they made my outfit. And also Atomics MMA gear made my boots for me. And I got to give those guys, they're out of Vegas, and they've been around forever. They supply everybody. I think Brock and Kurt wear their boots.
Wow.
And they made me a pair, and they're very comfortable. They're great for what I want to do, because I changed up my style a little bit, my gimmick, and kind of my name too. You know, all thanks to Kevin Matthews from WrestlePro.com giving me a call and saying, you need to do a hardcore match. You never did that in your life. I said, wow. So yeah, so I got to give those guys a bunch of thanks. I appreciate people who appreciate me and respect me in the wrestling business. It's huge, because it's really rarity, if you will. Van has probably caught some of it, but he'll see more in the upcoming years.
Oh yeah, I've definitely caught some of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's perfect segue, Van. I'd love to throw it to you and hear that first moment when you did actually want to take that leap into becoming a pro wrestler. What was that like for you? What was that journey like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for me, it all started in 2014. It's when I realized that, hey, there is a promotion just one town over from me in Barrie, and I started going to shows. And at that point in 2014, I'm only 16 years old, so a little bit too young to fully get things started, but it's where I wanted to sort of get my feet in the door at least. And so, they started hosting seminars before the shows, and to which that's where I jumped at the opportunity. I'm like, a training school is a little too out of reach still at this point for me. Mm-hmm. However, as long as I can get in there with my, at the time, mat wrestling background, as well as being a high school athlete, get in there with that just to learn the basics, run the ropes, bump around, see how it feels. And after the first time I did that, felt my first bump, I was like, yep, I knew I was making the right decision. Being a fan of the sport my entire life, being just a true fan of every aspect of the industry. And from there, that's when I started doing the ring crew because it's so close to home. So I would be at all the shows, setting up the ring, doing the seminars, tearing the ring down, meeting all the wrestlers who are also coming through the door, who I now share a locker room with. And yeah, it took me until 2019, which is when I got on the road for the first time, got myself a reliable vehicle. I started training at the Hamilton Pro Wrestling Academy. It's about 2 hours south from where I live, so it's a 2-hour drive both ways, but it was well worth it because I was in a school where everybody was about supporting each other, helping each other succeed, and we wanted the business to grow for the better as a whole together. And in that environment, that's when I really started to excel, really started to get good at professional wrestling. And it was at that year when I made my first official debut in front of a crowd as well.
I love that. No, it sounds like you surrounded yourself with a great community that you're still a part of too. That's awesome. Yeah. And Barry, do you resonate with that at all with your journey? What was it like when you first wanted to get into it?
Wow. First of all, Van's story is phenomenal because everything he said, I'm just overwhelmed because I don't see too many guys his age speaking that fluent, that well about the business. And basically what Van just told you, he's paying his dues properly, the right way, because I did it the same exact way. I was a fan, and I said, if I'm going to do this, first thing is get your ass in shape. Second, I joined a youth center for free to learn how to amateur wrestle. From there, I went to junior high school. I went to FSU and wrestled. I just believe that's the way to do it. This is my opinion, my eyes. Wrestling is an institution. It's almost a secret club. It's a way of life, and I'm a firm believer in that because it helped me progress in pro wrestling. That, and I'm being biased with this statement, but being trained by the best ever in this business, the great Malenko, getting in the ring, grabbing a headlock, No promos, none of this, no color, none of this. Let's build a foundation. Yeah, when you build a house, you don't start in the attic, you start in the basement. And when I think of hardcore, I mean, there's a lot, and I don't want to diss anybody, but in the top of my head, right off the bat, Malenko's, Stu Hart, and of course, the whole Hart family. I've wrestled every single one of them. I know them well, and I'm very extremely partial to Brett and Owen.
You had plenty run-ins. I think I heard that you said you've wrestled Owen the most times. Was that a fact?
That's a fact. I was told that I didn't know that. Wow. Remember now, I wrestled Owen his opening night at Monday Night Raw, flew in from Canada. Me and Chief Jay Strongbow picked him up at the airport in Bristol, Tennessee. And I was to go because I was his opponent. Owen didn't know me. He was young. He was spoiled. But I'll tell you what, he picked it up quick, respected each other, and it went on to every gimmick he did, I've wrestled him. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. And every time we had a match, I just enjoyed the hell out of it because it was all about wrestling, all about getting the match over. Not I'm going to do that and this and that. You know, a lot of people don't know that. Getting the match over is the best compliment ever. It doesn't mean get it over real quick and take a shower and get the hell out of town. It means get Owen over, get Barry over, get Earl Hebner, the referee, over, get the audience with this. That's how you have a complete story told, good, solid wrestling match. It's flawless. And when I think about it, when I first started, that's hard, but to me, that's second nature now. There's many times where dressing rooms were separate and kayfabe was really hardcore. Owen and I call it out there. You know how many guys could do that today? No, they can't. They got to have a script like Hollywood. That's bullshit.
Van, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Van, do you follow a script?
At this point, I am still let's call it at least 10 times before we go out there to each other.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Basically, you're going over the beginning spot, the heat spot, the comeback spot, and of course the finish.
Yeah.
And you fill in the rest. Now, I will admit, when I was in All Japan for the Giant Baba, you'd go out there for 15 or 20 minutes. I swear to you guys, the finish would start at the 10-minute mark. It was that long. Let me tell you something. I bet you before my match, I would go in a room empty with a mirror, whatever. I went over that match literally 100 times. Sometimes the referee had a buzzer, like, hey, you're supposed to arm drag, something like that. But they don't care about that. What Japan cares about is you bust your ass in the ring, no ha-ha and gaga. They want wrestlers that know how to wrestle, or you're on a plane home the next day and possibly getting stretched that night. I think everybody should break in Japan for a year. You set the ring up, you set it down. You don't take a shower until you go home. It respects the business. It's so important because I've seen some guys, they're in the business 3-4 months and they got the world title. What? Are you shitting me? Sorry. I don't know, because maybe it's the old school of me, but I've talked to guys older than me, younger than me, and they agree. So something's right.
It definitely diminishes it, I feel. And just looking at the bigger leagues of the business, when somebody gets in and they just get that world title immediately, it's not as special coming from a fan. But Van, what do you think about that?
Oh, paying your dues. I guess like through osmosis, I sort of realized, and through growing up and seeing the different types of media that portrayed wrestling, and trying to pick through and realize, okay, what's useful information, what isn't, and learning so much about the Hart family through my family, through just having being taught by passed down through generations, and learning about exactly that, paying your dues, paying the respect to the business. It's all stuff that for me seems like a no-brainer. It's just a part of it. It's
Right.
like how you go to school and you got to progress your grade. It's paying your dues is going to school. You can't just graduate like that. And so to what Barry's saying exactly, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen people come into the business. They have a great look. They're champion their first night. They give up on wrestling like no time at all right after, and it's a bit disheartening for if you want to call it the journeymen of wrestling who do pay their dues and do go above and beyond just to try to succeed in the business. And while I'm only 6 foot, 195 pounds, and so I'm not the biggest guy in every locker room. And I know that I'm going to miss some opportunities because of that, or not get as many opportunities because of that. However, I know I'm in this role. This is what I'm given. How can I make this work?
Right.
Given where I'm at.
I definitely totally agree with you. I echo all your points. They're right. It's pretty simple too. Everything you're saying, Van. It's just a shame. There's many people opposite of you and I, and that's not a compliment or a good thing to be. Closing the bar, gimmicks. I've seen a lot of it. I'm not going to mention names. I don't need to. Half of these guys are broke, in prison, dead, or killed themselves. That's not good. See, what people don't understand is all the fun. Let's hypothetically say 20 years ago, the fun and this, there's fun in every locker rooms, I'm sure, in Hollywood, in football and soccer, lacrosse, whatever, ice hockey. But when it comes to business, you got to separate the two. What I'm getting at, my point I'm making is it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's what's important to me. So that's how I look at it. I'm finishing. I train 6 days a week. I'm 6 foot or a tad over. I'm probably 225. I'm a little bit bigger than I was when I was working with Owen and so forth, but I wanted that when I got out of the business. I pick and choose my matches. My biggest thing is I love my meet and greets and seminars, teaching about in and out of the squared circle. Right. And if a match comes a point and it looks good and it's financially great for me, I'm going for it because I'm always in wrestling. I'm always in shape. I don't have the wrestling shape I had back in the day because a lot of people don't realize this, but wrestling shape, football shape means when you're working every night and you're hitting the weights and working every night, it does something to you a little bit different than just being, pumped up and then go in there. Hitting those ropes, taking those slams, all of that stuff. So, I could still pull it off. I'm lucky, but my first 6 months, I was on 1-inch judo mats, taking backdrops and slams from Jody Malenko, which, if anybody doesn't know him, he was trained by Carl Gotch and his father. He's a super shooter type. These guys like to hook, stretch. They like to mess you up. And if you look him up, he's got a reputation. I'm sure I don't know if he ever met, but Stu Hart would love him. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Van, I know you were trained by Rip Impact, which is great, especially in that Canadian scene. So talk about your start when it comes to training. What were some of those skills that you walked away with?
So for me, luckily enough, Rip Impact, he is such a genuine trainer, somebody who's down to earth, somebody who can see passion and take it and help mold it. He can thin the grass and thin the herd when there's clearly nothing in there. However, it was an email that I sent to him. Basically, he asked me, "Why do you want to be a wrestler?" And I wrote it this huge email, and then sure enough, he loved it. That's when I go down and I meet him for the first time. But he really connected with me and he worked with me. And at this point, I'm still very green to the business. But he worked with me and took my amateur mat stuff and helped me sort of developed while keeping all my basics that I've already had. So I'm doing a lot of single leg, double leg takedowns in matches. I'm doing a lot of rolls. I'm doing a lot of, duck walk slide, stuff like that. And that helped sort of separate myself from my training class, who nobody else was working that style. It helped me sort of grow this identity at such an early start in my career to how I could morph my style going forward. Rip Impact, he's totally brilliant, and he works with everybody that comes through HPW in that same way. But for me especially, he really tried to hone it down to my basics that I already had and how can we expand with that. And so it was a great start, and it's only continued to be wonderful with him.
Sounds awesome.
It definitely does. Yeah. Barry, do you relate to that with some of the skills you walked away with from the Malenkos?
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt. Basically, I was training in a mattress warehouse that was about 100 degrees in the summer and about 40 in the winter. A little
I can relate. Yeah.
A little bathroom, a fan. When we graduated from the judo school, we went into this. They had an 16-foot ring and a 20-foot ring, and had one big fan in there and wooden floors, 3 days a week, about 3 hours a night after a part-time job, after training, sometimes 4 days a week. I did that for 18 months without missing a workout. How I could relate my career is through song. There's 2 songs.
I love that. Yeah.
That translate my career. If you're a fan of these people, fine. If you're not, just listen to the words for the hell of it. One is The Dance by Garth Brooks. Now, I'm a country music fanatic, and I was actually in a country music video of Joe Diffie's back in the day.
I heard about that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. It was it's really cool. It's a shame Joe passed last year from COVID. And he was a good guy, and I was in one of his #1 videos and songs of the year on CMT. So The Dance by Garth Brooks and The Climb by Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
So if you think of those words, that definitely resonates with me, translates with me, not word for word, but it's a good beginning. Now, there's other songs too, but those stick out big time with me. I am so grateful that I was introduced to the Malenkos by an entrepreneur. I see other guys, how they train. I've been to their facilities. Some are really nice facilities. I mean, unbelievable. I could watch somebody lock up or hit the ropes and tell if they're a good worker. Maybe I'm just partial to my style, and maybe sometimes I made a mistake. When you're rushed on TV, hey, you got to go home now. Sometimes you leave out the full details, which I like to be a detailed worker. In my eyes, a great worker is Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
His physique and his look was like, who could you compare with? His promos.
He's a good baby face. He's a good heel. I mean, I don't know a flaw in his arsenal. I don't know any. His kicks, I tried to copy, and I'm pretty good at watching. Like, I remember one time, the Kabuki leg breaker. I watched World Class Wrestling, this match 100 times until I got it right, and I perfected it. But Paul's kick, watch some of his old matches on YouTube. He does a floating kick. So when he he's kicking you like most heels average, the right leg, boom, boom, boom. He'll go for the right, feint it, and hit you with a left. And it's pretty. And I've never seen anybody else do it, ever.
I will look into that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's his look, everything about him, his robes, everything, his promos. Like I said, his look, his wrestling ability, drop kick, arm drag. He could be a vicious heel. I mean, I've worked with him a couple times. He's a good guy, and he respects a lot of guys in this business. Respect. Like I'm into type. I'm not trying to be partial, but I'm respecting people like Owen, Brett, Brad Armstrong. Actually, the whole Armstrong family. Anybody that's like a technical wrestler, I'm into. Yeah. It's my jam. Okay. But at the same time, I am a versatile worker. I could be pulling 20 minutes with Owen Hart, and 2 matches later, hey, could you put over Undertaker real quick? No problem.
Yeah.
Actually, it doesn't. I'm working harder with Owen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you get the wrong guy. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Flair, Hogan, Undertaker. Let me tell you something. If you don't put him in right, he don't get over. He don't put asses in the seats, and he looks like shit. It takes 2. Because I've seen enhancement talent. Nothing against them. I've seen enhancement talent. No look. They got the job face when the camera's on. So you know they're going to lose, which is it's bad. It's bad. It's horrible. I don't like that. They weren't broken in right. They weren't taught right when you do that. Their attire is from Walmart, and their look is, I don't know, 5 pounds of crap in a 10-pound sock. It doesn't look good. And they're not putting over a thing. They're not taking the bump right. They're sloppy. It's just, I want to be seen on TV so my friends can see me and I get a payday. It's not good. Trained enhancement could go either way. I mean, everybody can't be a superstar. You can't have it. You can't have it. Everybody loses. The Patriots lose. The Buccaneers lose. I mean, Mike Tyson loses. It happens. It happens.
Definitely.
It's
just the way it is. Hey, Rocky loses.
He did twice, right? Yeah.
Right.
So. Yeah. I was going to say, Barry, I mean, I was going to ask about it later, but as, someone who really did revolutionize, that category, you took it and made it your own, that enhancement talent, made a whole great career about it. I wanted to know what you think an enhancement talent should be. You said the flaws you see today, but what should an enhancement talent be if you had to define that category?
Well, I think I'm not trying to put myself over, but I think they should do what I do.
Yeah,
I really do. Keep your mouth shut, especially when you're new. Don't be a wise guy. Go along with the stupid ribs. They're all in first grade. I think they've calmed down on the ribs now. They're not back in the days of Dynamite and Davey Boy and even Owen, which Owen never ever ribbed me. And if he did, it was kind of funny. Who cares? What's going to, I've traveled many times, especially, I remember one time I was in the back seat. Greg DeValentine was driving a brand new Toronado, which is comparable to a Cadillac. Bob Backlund was in the passenger seat. They worked with each other that night. Bob was world, WWF champion. So they had a kayfabe, like picking up each other, and I got a ride back with them. I sat in that back seat and didn't say a word. I listened to all their stories, and this is how old Doritos are. They had a huge bag in the front seat, and they're eating them. Now, I'm 21 years old, and I watch my diet, but not like I do now. And I'm dying for some Doritos. And they offer me these Doritos, but I won't eat them.
No.
I'm just keeping the mouth shut and listening. And they even said, hey, you could talk. I said, oh, I know. I'm actually just absorbing everything you guys are saying. It's pretty fun and just being respectful, not kiss ass, respectful. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with what Van was saying when we were talking. Everything you said, I just totally agree with. So you're definitely on the right track. What's to say if Barry Horowitz went out to these strip clubs? What if he did some enhancement gimmicks? You know what I'm talking about? Steroids. We could say it now. Okay. Would my push be better? Would it be this? Would it be that? But let's say something happened to Barry on the gas. Let's say Barry got arrested at a strip club. Do you think the company and the boys care about my bills paid and this and that?
No.
They're probably, some of them are happy because, oh, good, he won't take my spot. I have never worried about that. I am not insecure. I don't have to outdo anybody. I do what I was taught. And believe me, I've been approached already. Hey, calm down, you're wrestling. Oh, really? Really? Why? Because you can't? Maybe I should be on 5th and you should be on 2nd.
Yeah.
And learn how to work, by the way.
Yeah. I agree with that so much. Going back just a little bit to when you were saying those car rides where you're in the back seat and it's not disrespectful. It's in total respect that you just want to listen and hear these stories. I've sat under the learning tree of Josh Alexander numerous amounts of times. He's from my area, Impact World Champion currently, and just absorbing everything he's saying. And then given the chance, okay, now is the time for questions. That's when that's when you go back. But just to hear just knowledge pour out of him, especially on the technical aspects of wrestling, he is very much similar to what I aspire to be in terms of the technical style worker. And yeah, it's to what you said. It's in total respect that you just sit back and listen. You know your spot. You do as you're asked and you do as you're told. That's what it is. Am I winning tonight? Am I losing tonight?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm here to do the job. Thank you for everything, If
you don't mind, I want to rewind just something said there about your situation, and also Noah said this, know your role. For instance, this was my dream to be a pro wrestler. It also was to be like a multi-millionaire. I thought that's what, you know what I'm saying?
You just grow up and become a millionaire. Yeah, I had those same dreams.
So I said, okay. And you get a little frustrated about certain things in the business, about working and the pecking order. And so if this is my role, I think I did pretty good in my career as far as being known and being relevant. Would I have liked better? Would I have liked this? Yeah, but I'm not going to be a mark and go, you know what? I'm quitting.
Yeah.
I'll just go do indies. I'll go do fire matches in the 25th company in Japan. Okay. No, I'm not doing that. You know how many times I've went to the gorilla position, oiled, pumped. Hey, Barry, your match is canceled. Thank you. I just got paid for putting my boots on. What am I going to kick a garbage can and all the
throw a fit? Yeah,
and throw a fit, and all the little stooges are there, and they report it to the powers to be. I don't do that shit. Okay, you got to smarten up. And I've seen people do some stupid things. I bet you anybody I've wrestled or anybody you throw at me, I could tell you a story that they helped me or they didn't. And when I mean didn't is like if you said such and such, and I go, well, I learned, I need to go straight back to my room and eat my Subway and watch HBO.
Yeah,
I don't
avoid those ones. Yeah,
I don't need to be at the strip club at 4 a.m. spending $700 and then catching a 2-hour sleep. I got things to do.
Yeah.
When I leave my house for the road, when I was on the road with major companies, as soon as I leave that house and I'm getting on the plane, I've clocked in. It's time to go to work. And what do I mean by that? I mean, when you land, you got to get the rent a car, find the gym, maybe a tanning place, nice hotel, get to the building early. I like to dress early. I like to warm up for a while, go over my match. That's my job. What else do you got to do? What are you going to sit around eating hot dogs, get to the building late, and have a shitty match? That's not me.
No.
That's not professionalism.
No, definitely not.
And you'll go nowhere. You'll go nowhere fast.
it's a total professional thing. Exactly to what you're saying. Like I just would reiterate all those points that you're making too. Exactly. It's like, okay, we're coming, we're doing our job. It's like, what do you need from me? Exactly that. Lace up my boots and you don't need me to wrestle? Okay, thank you. Like
Yep.
it's exactly what it is.
If you don't believe in professionalism or accountability or perseverance, go ask Tom Brady.
Van, for you, I want to hear who the barn burner Van Landon is, because from what I've seen so far, it seems like you really focus on that charisma. You seem like the loudest person in the room, right? When you come out, you want everyone to know it. So tell us all about that persona, how you crafted it.
So Van Landon, it's the real me turned up to at least 120%. And what I mean by that is outside of the ring, with my circle of friends, I would definitely be considered the life of the party in that aspect. Not necessarily to what Barry is getting into in that 4 a.m. strip club scene. No, none of that. Definitely a more tame take to all that sort of stuff. But with that being said, the barn burner Van Landon is taking all my energy, all my positivity, even, and outward projecting it through the eyes and through the lens of Van Landon, the barn burner. And so he comes out, he's wearing motorcycle, dirt bike style gear. He's got rock and roll music, long hair going, the sunglasses, the shiny sunglasses, oiled up, jacked, ready to go. Revving the bike, doing the rev the bike taunt.
Oh yeah.
Van Landon is very plucky. He's very happy-go-lucky. He's very hi fans, I'm happy to be here. And he knows that more often than not, he's gonna go in there, he's gonna get his shine, he's gonna take a lot of heat, he's gonna have the crowd begging for anything. Sometimes you can get knocked down real quick and come out on the losing end of things as well. So that's who the barn burner really is.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Barry, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you could tell us some of the things that made you get over in the beginning, like patting yourself in the back or something like Mr. Technical, adding to that character of yours. I'd love to hear where that came from.
Well, I've always wanted to be a wrestler. That's what I want to be, but I didn't want to be boring. I watched a match on Ring of Honor, and nothing against these guys. And for me to say this is huge. It was almost too much wrestling. It was going in and out of wrist locks, top wrist locks, bottom wrist locks. There was no drop kicks. There was no tackles. There was no submissions. I think they used some forearms and forearm uppercuts and headbutts, which I love. I'm not into the chops. I'm just I leave the chops to Wahoo McDaniel, Steamboat, Youngblood, Flair, Greg Valentine. And plus, I was always taught a chop won't break an egg, but a good European uppercut, good forearm, good punch. Flair throws an awesome one. Good headbutt like Ronnie Garvin. I think it gets over and resonates with the fans more so. They know a chop ain't doing nothing but going. They like two things: the slap and woo.
Yeah.
Modern fans, 100%. Yeah.
No
matter where you go.
Yeah, cool. I mean, that's great for Ric Flair, and he deserves it. He got it over. I mean, that's really cool. But that's what I said to myself. The pat on the back came in an amateur match, which I got disqualified. I did it half-assed, and I said, and I remembered, I said, well, I need to keep this in my back pocket for when I progress in pro wrestling and turn heel. And I really love it because it matches my gimmick. And what better name, Mr. Technical, Barry Horowitz. I'm a technical wrestler. I thought of that all myself, and I just wanted to stand out, something different. And I love mixing the pro and the amateur. When it's just total amateur, you're almost going to bore the fans.
Yes.
Because when I was watching these two guys, it was good. but it was too much. It was just way too. And sometimes, and I've caught this, it's a pet peeve with me. I caught this. It almost looks like a dance. Okay, so you do the headlock takeover, float over, and it almost looks so loose. You're just having a gala time. I don't like that. It needs to be snug, and it needs to be less choreographed to look solid work. You're not going to see Brett or Owen doing shit like that, or anybody else in the amateur, in the technical aspect of this business. You're not going to see Bob Backlund, Bob Orton Jr., Don Morocco, Mike Graham. They don't do that. It's not a friggin' dance. And another pet peeve of mine, there's a lot of them, but the lockup and the tackles and hitting the ropes. Most guys can't do it. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Maybe I'm just partial because the way I was taught. But, yeah, somebody needs to some guys hit the ropes. I'll tell you who I think, in my eyes, just sticks out. The way this guy hits the ropes is incredible, is Kenny Omega.
Oh, yeah. With so much force and power.
Yeah.
Flawless. Flawless how he hits the ropes and how he slides himself across that ring. Now, a lot of guys are doing it. Darby Allin's doing it. I've noticed maybe the locker room, they're training with each other. They're doing nothing wrong with that. It's pretty cool. But when Kenny hits the ropes, it's incredible. I friggin' love it. It's awesome. And a good solid tackle and hitting the ropes properly, not tapping them. It just doesn't look good. It looks weak.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I'm not knocking anybody. This is what I say to students or people I'm teaching. I want them to better their thing, better their craft.
Yeah. I mean, I learned real quick exactly that because, I'm hitting those ropes early on the first couple times. And then after training, I'm looking under my shoulder, right under that lat. And I'm like, what is going on? But then you get used to it. It builds up. And when you're in ring shape, it's nothing to hit those ropes.
Nothing. Man, when I was black and blue. It felt like people were punching me in the back.
Yeah.
Because I don't care who it is, the average guy in the gym or whatever, you hit those ropes for the first time or get body slammed or suplexed, they ain't getting up the next morning. It's tough. It's friggin' tough. And some of those rings are stiff. I've taken clotheslines and press slams on a boxing ring.
Wow.
It literally cut my forearm, split it. It's like taking it out in my backyard, not my backyard, small parking lot.
Concrete, yeah. That's
concrete.
Barry
doesn't like concrete.
Something specific for you, of course. Huge news in the wrestling world is that, of course, Vince McMahon officially retired, announced 2 days ago. And as somebody so early with the company as yourself, I'd just love to hear what your initial thoughts were on that, and if you remember even the first time meeting Vince.
First of all, I didn't know about it until 2 days ago when I did another interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know about it. I didn't. I just didn't know about it. And when I first met Vince was in 1981. I met his dad. And I met him, and it was just hello, and that was it. That was it. I was, I'm not in his circle. I'm not in his clique at that time. Back then it was Adrian Adonis and Jesse Ventura, Jimmy Snuka, Bob Orton Jr., the original Samoans, Saito and Fuji. Wow. That was, because that's the first time I met him was at Allentown TV. They used to do TV in Allentown, PA, the next day in Hamburg, PA, every 3 weeks. And in 2 days, I would wrestle 6 times.
Yeah.
But then as they progressed from WWF and Vince took over, each TV I would work once. That's it. Which was cool.
Yeah.
So
would that be to not get too much exposure that you would only be wrestling once, or was he actually just trying to take care of you more and tone you down about it?
I don't know. I don't think it had anything. I think they had so many guys. Just put Barry with this guy, have a good solid match, and a lot of times I love being dark matches because I get the people amped up and I could take my time.
You get that first pop.
Hell
first
yeah.
music, first everything. Yeah, they're ready at that point.
For me, in my prime, I was just getting warmed up in 12 minutes. I mean, I loved 15, 20. When I did indie shows, sometimes I go 30 minutes.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm. You could tell a hell of a story in 30 minutes. But now,
it's a long time.
The average worker can't because he runs out of gas. He runs out of holds. He runs out of moves. He runs out of, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Barry, you talked before about, of course, Paul Orndorff being the total package, a good example of that. Is there anyone that you watch today? Because it seems like you're really into AEW, and you said you're watching Ring of Honor. Is there anyone that exemplifies that to you today?
Well, I don't get to watch like I used to, but AEW, they wrestle a lot. I love it. And I guess their specialty is tag teams.
Yeah,
so
emphasis on the tag teams.
I gotta admit, probably the best tag team wrestling I've seen, and probably the best Lucha Libre tag team there. They're phenomenal. They're incredible. The stuff they do. I'm sure you guys know the guys' outfits are phenomenal.
Yeah, Ray Phoenix.
You talking about Pentagon?
Pentagon, yeah.
Flawless.
Right.
They're really, really good. Everybody there wrestles a lot. They're doing sessions. They're doing high spots. A lot of out of the ring stuff. I mean, to each his own. But it's well done. And now I hear a lot of people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
Well, after a while, most of these guys, I remember Owen and Brady Boone and some other guys, any of those guys that do a lot of twists and turns, eventually, after a year or two, blow out the knee. They do get hurt. Now, I'm not saying be a lazy worker either. I don't agree with that. You work the people for 10 minutes, grab a headlock, and I'm not a fan of that either. So I watch the AEW, and I watch Raw sometimes, stuff like that. Only if I see a good wrestling match.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna, I could just tell by the spots and everything. It doesn't excite me because even though where I'm at, I still learn, and I could correct. I'm still learning. Like I'm going. No, you should do something else. That's just me. That's the way I was taught, and I could see sloppiness. Not everybody, but I know when it happens.
Yeah,
right.
It's the eye of the professional wrestler where you can, you pick up on sloppiness, you pick up on those miscommunications.
Sure.
You pick up on all those things.
And it does happen, as long as it doesn't happen often and early.
Van, is there a promotion out there? I mean, the landscape of professional wrestling is so healthy right now, so active. Is there a promotion, whether it be AEW, WWE, or another one that you have your eye on for the next step in your career?
I've been seeing a lot of rumors and stuff that All Elite Wrestling is trying to come to Canada soon. And I think a huge goal of mine, a realistic goal of mine, would be to get onto AEW Dark or AEW Dark Elevation, where I would be exactly that in that enhancement role. And that alone would be such a huge opportunity to see the inner workings of the show, see the production, be able to just see like how things are going at that level. I mean, there's a huge jump between the indie promotion versus television production.
Yep.
So just to have any sort of experience or involvement with that would be monumental for me.
Yeah.
And so that's a total goal of mine is to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
would be. And there's a lot of
yeah.
Canadian wrestlers there in AEW.
Yep, absolutely.
See,
Yeah.
so they'll go there. They will.
I've
I can
also
see it
heard that,
happening.
man. Yeah, that they're coming to Canada. I think that's been making its way right through the grapevine. No,
Oh, yeah.
honestly, best of luck with that. That would be huge.
Yeah.
And to go to something happening a week from now, being SummerSlam, Barry, I'd love to go to you for that massive win at SummerSlam that you captured over Skip, right, Chris Candido, and just take us back to that, because with SummerSlam only a week away, I'd love to hear how it differs, what your experience was like, what SummerSlam was like back then.
Well, first of all, it was huge to me because I was actually a big part of the show on the program.
Yeah.
It was huge for me to be at that pay-per event, to be at SummerSlam in Pittsburgh. I've worked that building many times. I've been in that building when, oh my God, I've been in that building back when I first started, when I was his first match, and Paul Orndorff was there. I remember that, and it's the Pittsburgh Civic Arena, aka the Igloo, aka that's also where they filmed the movie Sudden Impact with Van Damme. Getting back to Skip, that match we went over, I swear to you, when I was done with that match, I was so high from that match, I didn't take my trunks or boots off for an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Everybody did, and it was solid, and it felt good, and Akushi was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'm pretty sure it was sold out, and it was just huge. It was great to be a part of it. I did promos for it, and just yeah, I didn't expect all this. So I'm grateful for everything that I got, because then you think also, without trying to be braggadocious or put myself over, but how many guys would say, I want your spot, Barry. I would love to be with, see what I'm getting at? So you could never say be ungrateful is what I'm saying. You know, like, oh, I deserve it. I mean, sure, you like to make more money and get a bigger push and so forth. Maybe there was some flaws. Maybe you're a goofball. Maybe you really can't wrestle that good. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables of getting a push. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I am grateful, because I know other guys, I mean, that would probably, God, I'd be happy to have your deal. And they don't. But I don't think they have my work ethic either. No, and maybe some of them do. Some of them do. I guarantee you there's guys in Alabama, in Tennessee, in upstate New York on indie shows that should be pro, and they're not. And then some shouldn't be because lack of.
Yeah.
So it's almost, it's hard. It really is hard. It's really hard. You know, it's a bunch of stuff. It's just, hopefully it'll go your way.
Absolutely. Must have been a massive moment, big culmination of a lot of hard work leading up to it.
Yes.
And I don't know if you heard, at this SummerSlam upcoming, Jeff Jarrett was just announced on there, and you have history with him going for the Intercontinental Championship on Raw. And just any memories of that too? That was huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I remember it was a solid match, and I forgot a spot. I do remember that, which it happens. It's the good part is how to cover it up, you know. But enjoyed the match. I've always I've worked with Jeff a couple times. I don't know if I've ever worked with him in Memphis when I was there, but I enjoyed. Never had a problem working with Jeff. The few times I worked with him, just another a good technical guy and a good heel, good promos, good guitar smasher.
Yeah. I think we'll see some of that Sunday. I'm predicting it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Van, did you check out, that was SummerSlam 1995, right?
Right.
1995. Have you seen that show, Van?
Not. So I was born in 1998. So, so it's
Right here.
a few of these shows have been
think they're
before
on
my
YouTube.
time.
They're all,
Yeah, it's something
definitely
to check out.
You can catch them on YouTube.
They
Peacock.
And
screwed
right?
us over for the WWE network here in Canada, so it's
Yeah,
hard to get full shows up here.
And if I'm not mistaken, you could go to your public library and they have them on, I think, either CD or VHS.
Hey, I got a VHS player. I would love to watch it.
No, I mean,
know
you
they
could
did
rent
that,
them for
yeah.
free.
Wow.
Yeah, you could rent them for free. In Florida, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
That would
reason
be something to check out.
The reason and of course, before we wind it down here, I want to do something a little different, a little fun. Van, so you say you haven't watched that SummerSlam, haven't caught it yet. Barry, of course, on the card. I've got three matches from that show here, a little SummerSlam trivia for you guys.
Okay.
So the opening contest for that was Hakushi, who, of course, Barry, he ended up playing a role in your match too, versus 1, 2, 3 Kid. So I'll throw it to Van first. Who do you think won that match?
In the opener, 1, 2, 3
Opener.
Kid, big baby face pop to open. That's my guess. Literal no knowledge. That's my guess.
Lock it in, Barry.
Locking it in.
You know, I don't remember, but I'm going with Hakushi went over.
You know, I got to give this one to Barry. It was Hakushi. It was, but it's a good guess though. Look, if everyone got it right, it wouldn't be. Let's hear it.
Well, the reason I said that, and I'm not cheating here. I really don't. The reason is because Hakushi was with me, and he's a babyface. 1, 2, 3 Kid was a heel.
Heel in 95? Okay.
See? So when I saw that, plus your opening match, yeah, you want that babyface over in Hakushi. They loved him.
Okay.
Hell of a worker, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. When he came out in your match, Barry, he hit that spot, that springboard. That was flawless. That was even that little thing. Yeah.
He's the man.
Second match from that, we've got Undertaker versus Kamala casket match. What do we got, Van?
Undertaker. Yeah.
That's easy.
They had that custom casket. I remember that. I've seen that. Undertaker's had enough DVDs that we've seen the best of casket matches a few times. Undertaker, final answer.
Locking it in. Barry, do we even need to ask you, or you got this?
Oh, yeah, that's Undertaker all the way.
Undertaker all the way. All right, final one here. Diesel and King Mabel.
For the belt, right?
Yep.
Well, that's,
Yeah, Diesel. Final answer.
Barry,
I know that because,
Oh, yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm locking in Diesel.
Yeah. I'm like, Mabel's never been world champion.
No. All right, yeah, it is. It is Diesel. It is Diesel.
I was doing the history of the WWE Championship in my head right there, and I
saw the wheels turning. Yeah,
Diesel, Mabel, no. Okay, Backlund, Diesel, yeah, no.
No, that was solid. Well, I can't wait. I really can't wait for SummerSlam coming up. But a lot of fun. I mean, this is great. It really flew by here, Barry. I'd love to throw it to you and just hear what you've got coming up, what you've been busy with recently. I know the past few years you said have been just nonstop. Of course, we talk about Wrestlecon. Yeah.
Basically, I've been training 6 days a week. I've been doing seminars, meet and greets. Again, like I told you, and big shout out. I'm co-owner of GTG, Good Times Guaranteed. Every Wednesday on the internet, it's a live wrestling auction. It's hosted by Richie Sorrentino. He also is my webmaster. He's also the king of credit. That's his side deal, but really a pretty cool thing. And ProWrestlingTees.com is doing well for me. Cameo is doing huge for me for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
I'm really appreciative to them. And I know I'm missing, of course, WrestlePro, I was saying, and Atomics and highspots.com. And, of course, YouTube, Facebook, everything. I've been involved in all of that. And all of these major ones I'm giving shout outs to because they've helped me and they're kind and they're very respectful and they deserve props, heavy props actually. Yeah. So I like acknowledging these people. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. My fans are so much different than 20 years ago. They're respectful. They know what's going on. You'll get 1 out of 100 that doesn't.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're into the storytelling and the actual wrestling and when I perform, I want ringside or the people in the cheap seats to go, this guy's a trained pro. That's a wrestling move. That's just not a punch in the face or a clothesline or hit with a chair. Anybody could do that in the back of Chili's restaurant on a Friday night, or the back of Tim Hortons in Toronto. But I don't have to tell people from Canada that because most Canada wrestlers I know are all technical. I mean,
must be something in the water.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and I think all the good ghosts of the Hart family are definitely floating all over Saskatchewan, Toronto, Montreal, everywhere. Medicine Hat, everywhere across Canada. I mean, it's huge. So
well, no, definitely, Van. To throw it to you, you mentioned AEW Dark as a goal, awesome goal to have. Love to hear any other goals on your radar, and of course, where we could find you. I know you just came out with your new first T-shirt too. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so things are just starting to get rolling on me, especially in the merchandise game. Things are picking up. I got the first ever Van Landon T-shirt. You get the V and L logo on it.
That's cool.
And I would be remiss not to try to show you at least the back of it. I'm not sure how it's looking, but it should be back there.
No, we can see it. Yeah,
it looks good.
Awesome. So yeah, and just to reiterate about the professionalism, I'm also taking that same aspects with merchandise that I create as well. I'm not trying to rip the fans off by any means. I'm giving them what their money's worth. They're paying to see our shows. They're paying to support us. They're paying, to buy our merchandise. Like, give them the best, because without them, pro wrestling is nothing, first and foremost.
Oh, definitely. If you don't mind, you reminded me something. I got to give big props to Jeff in California. Makes all my merchandise, WrestlingLoot.com. They make mini-me's. They make the I've got a plushie coming out, the big plushie. Yeah, and I'm trying. And a stick pin with me patting myself on the back, and then the 8x10s. And so I gotta give them. He takes care of everything. What a great guy! And they're based out of California. There's a lot of companies out of California, merchandise wise, and wrestling companies and indies and stuff. And I have to give Van. I have to give Noah and all my fans that are watching right now, because I didn't do it yet, but I got to give you the Madison Square Garden pat on the back. Got to give it to you.
Well deserved, right? Thank you. Thank you so much. No, and Barry, final question I ask every legend who I have on, if they could just give, you've given so much great advice. Do you have any other, parting words for Van Landon here?
I think Van is ahead of his time because he's doing everything. I think he's doing everything right. I'm sure if I was in the gym with him and in the ring with him, there'd be more said to make you, once again, a great worker instead of average or good, to fine tuning, if you will. Yeah. But otherwise, he's got the blueprint for success. And basically right now it's just you stay in shape, you stay out of trouble, you listen to veterans that are good veterans. You don't want to go down that rock and roll highway in the left lane. You want to stay in the middle or the right, and just do what's in your heart, and watching different matches, what to decipher, ask good questions, and yeah, I mean, you'll strive for the best. It's a no-brainer. It has to work. And if it doesn't, at least you could look in the mirror and say, I gave it my all. I did everything possible. You could go over everything. After every single one of my matches, and I still do this today, after my workouts when I'm working out, I go over them in my head. It's not obsession, it's accountability. So I would say, yeah, I went 15 minutes with Owen in Timmins, Ontario, and I arm dragged him. I worked his arm. God, we're in Medicine Hat. A week from now, I'll work his leg. And then, I'm at the Garden in 2 months. I'm going to work his back. I don't want to repeat nothing because it doesn't make me complacent. It's teaching me and it's teaching the fans that I'm versatile. And so I would go over my match. Did you get your punch in? Did you do this? Did you do too much of this? Did you overkill this? Did you work the people right? Did you pat yourself? Did everything make sense psychology-wise? And believe it or not, it's almost a miniature tutoring with yourself without being obsessed. You got to keep that balance. Bob Backlund told me this once. He says, you don't want to be over, you don't want to be under. You want to be right in the middle. Do you know how hard it is to be in the middle of a tightrope and stay balanced without falling? Think about it.
Hard. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I know that. Not in my wheelhouse. But seriously, thank you so much, both of you. I mean, this has been
thank you.
A pleasure.
This was an awesome show. And I just, Van's comments and everything he sounds for his age and everything, he's definitely on the right track.
Thank you.
So I expect to see more. And you also sparked something else when you said AEW. I got to give them props for giving me a chance. They contacted me. I don't know if you guys saw that segment. I did.
I saw.
I think it was all because of MJF. We're both Jewish, and I got to give him props. I got to give Sanjay Dutt props. The whole company for acknowledging me. It's just it's funny how another billion-dollar company can't acknowledge me, but this one did. And the same goes for WrestlePro.com contacting me. See, it's a funny thing, wrestling. It's all about, it's weird things. You can't even put it together. But who would think that would happen in the last year? Especially both of those. My hardcore match with Joey Janela and being on a segment in All Elite. I mean, that was cool. That was fun.
Yeah.
So
I hope we see more of you. I really do. I love it.
I do too.
Love that.
I hope so too. Shoot.
No, but as I said, great time, and then we'll wind it down here. Thank you. I hope we could do it again.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Definitely.
Rewind, recap, relive. For over 50 episodes, the revolutionary force in wrestling interview.